Last minute in episode 85, we've sent Dan away to another scouting report.
Dan, I think we have to change Dan's name from host to Pro Scout. Pro Scout.
Or special guest.
No, he's above special guest.
Okay, so Pro Scout.
When we do the podcast, it's at his place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's earned at least Pro whatever's in his name. He could be Pro Guest, but I feel like he's earned Pro Scout because...
Honorary guest.
No, that's even worse than special guest.
Nope, that's honorary
guest. He's Pro Scout. Dan
he's a
Rudy,
guest star. He's a guest star. We're the stars. He's the guest star.
It's true.
Because we make the effort to come.
Yeah, and then we force our way into his house. That's what we do.
And then his dog barks at us.
Hey, we get dogs. We get dogs wherever we go. That's just how we roll.
This is very true.
It's exactly how we roll.
Unless we did the show at Stefan's house, and then that would be cats everywhere, and you wouldn't be able to
Is he
that.
A cat guy?
I think his dad has 2.
Oh, that's not too many.
No. You cringe there thinking about cats.
I'm scared of cats.
You hate cats.
You know, there's a few cats I'm okay with, like Buster's cat, Finn. I don't think he named it, and it's not aptly named after Finland, but it's named Finn. And she's okay. We have an agreement, a non-verbal agreement that, you know what? I don't go near you, you don't go near me.
Okay.
That's it. But
you would hate the cat that I work with.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because we have shop cats at work.
Okay.
And one of them just, like, I'll be in my office working on something, and all of a sudden the cat will just jump up. I'll just hear it hit the hit my desk. I'm like, oh, you're back. And it'll, like, crawl around my laptop.
What you doing?
Unplug everything.
Who loves kitty? Like backing up its ass in your face.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Who loves kitty?
Stop.
You can kiss it.
And then we'll, like, crawl on my stomach. Like, I don't like this. Please leave.
I do not enjoy this.
You're not a dog.
Yeah, I'm a dog person too.
Oh, yeah. Last minute in podcast, dog supporters.
Yeah. Oh, for 100%. Do you own a cat?
No.
Neither. None of us own cats. Last minute in podcast, dog people.
When Dad moves out, he's owning a cat.
You think?
I think Jess will get a cat. I think she's a cat person.
Well, we don't
I
know
have that feeling.
We don't know that.
I have that feeling.
We don't know that.
It's okay. Well, it'll never get back to us.
When we go online dating, if it says cat person, that's a no-go. Now, have I ever been online dating? No, I haven't. That involves a lot of effort that I'm not prepared to put into it.
You know when you walk away is when in their picture they have a cat and you're like, nope, not dealing with this.
No diddly. That is a swipe. Which way?
Left.
Left is no.
Left is no.
So this is yes. That's no.
That's a no.
Okay, we gotta stop. I gotta stop doing non-visual, like audio.
Just swiping on his hand.
Yeah, all I'm doing is swiping on my hand, like pointing at Greg.
As you can tell, the right side of my case a little bit more worn than the left side.
It is. All right, what are we getting into? Let's give her some little teasers.
Okay, so we'll talk about Jets, injuries, Kyle Connor, GM meetings. We'll talk about Will Nye, the hockey guy. William T. Mander.
Oh, okay. I'm like, that's news to me. I like it.
You didn't know that was his nickname?
No.
I am freaking awfully sick. This is brutal. What else did you want to talk about? GM meetings?
Injuries. A couple key injuries.
Yeah, sure.
And then
we could talk
there's going to be some ramblings in there.
Well, yeah. What's me and
we
you
have
doing
a comment
podcast
too,
together.
so I'm very excited.
We have a podcast together, so clearly this is just going to go off the rails.
Yeah, like I'm certain people when they actually hear us.
Oh.
Like when it's just us, they're like, "Well, there goes the evening. There goes nope, I'm not listening to that." Wherever you are, it's played audio, played, unplayed, played.
Although, it could also be the opposite, where it's like, I'm strapping myself in. This is going to be an enjoyable hour of podcast. Because we're not radio, but we're not television.
I'm going to tease the comment. It'll knock you in your boots. Comment.
Knock you out of my boots?
Not into your boots.
Into my boots.
Not out of your boots. You get knocked back into your boots.
Oh,
have you ever been knocked into boots?
No.
How hard would that be?
Hurts?
No, I don't know. I've never been knocked into boots.
I'm trying. Just read the comment.
You want me to read it now?
Just read it now.
I thought I got to tease it a bit.
Is it a bad one?
No, it's a good one.
Oh, then leave it for later.
Okay,
I thought it was a bad comment.
No, it's gonna spark probably a conversation. That's why it'll knock you back into your boots.
Oh. So, like, instead of me leaving the podcast. No, that makes no sense. I don't understand what
I'm trying to be different
and
unique, so I feel like knocking into boots. I'm trying to be the hipster of the podcast game, where it's more like...
Your head clothing speaks for itself.
Yeah. Oh, you should see my new work clothes. I'll show you after. They're sweet. You know the hipster button-up shirts? with
hate you
stupid patterns on them.
Oh,
This
my
guy
God.
right here. One of them's
You're
got,
that guy.
One of them's got pineapples on
You're
it.
that guy. Of course it does.
I've
Do
never.
you like pineapples on pizza?
Delicious.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, ham and pineapple. Woo woo.
Great pizza.
Oh, very great pizza.
Of all the pizzas you can order, Hawaiian must be my favorite. Has to be. Has to
Gotta be. It's gotta be one of them.
You know what? I think your dog likes ham.
Yeah. Even one of my dogs is shout out. Oh my dad. Oh my dad. Now. All right. Let's
No.
Go ahead.
Continue on your pizza thought.
Okay. Well, as my dog's barking, this is perfect. Or one of them. I was just gonna say, what would you trade, or like, what would you have the ability if your dog could talk for a day?
Oh,
Whose voice would you do? You want your dog just whatever they think their voice is like. How creepy would it be if you heard my dog there and it was like Morgan Freeman and it was like,
see, I was thinking Morgan Freeman, but it can't be Morgan Freeman.
No, because Morgan Freeman is Morgan Freeman.
It's too sophisticated. Morgan Freeman's too sophisticated.
Oh, my dog's dumb.
So you need more of like an annoying voice.
That's an annoying voice right there.
Like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I dig.
Alan from 2.5 Men.
Alan from 2.5.
Like non-Charlie Sheen, the other guy. Ashton Kutcher would actually be a good dog. James Franco.
Seth Rogen.
Jonah Hill.
Seth Rogen. I want one of my dogs. And Jonah Hill would be great too.
Yeah.
Man, actually, one of my I'll
Jason Segel. He'd be. I think he'd be
Jason
good.
Segel.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Ooh,
Paul
who's the
Rudd
other
would be
guy?
good.
Jason Bateman.
Bateman would be good.
Bateman would
Yeah.
be
Charlie
solid.
Day.
Oh, Charlie Day is like a Chihuahua.
No, Charlie. Yeah.
Or like a little yappy dog. The
Yeah,
kind you
he
could
is.
just like pick up with one hand and be like, look it, if I clench my hand, you're dead. I could kill you. Am I the only one that thinks like that? Maybe.
No. Do you have that one? Then you have that one really like over the top dramatic dog. That's Christian Bale's Batman. Where's my dinner?
That's a great. That's a great Dane. Give me the treat. Give me the treat. Where are you?
Somebody typed in hockey podcast on iTunes. We're gratefully disappointed.
Yeah. You're like, hey, you said you're 3 misinformed friends who are talk about the Jets from time to time.
We're 8 minutes in, and there's no hockey talk yet. Don't worry, we're gonna get there. But first, more dog talk.
Yeah. Welcome to Dogs at Home here.
This is when we cut to the visual of the new intro for Dogs at Home.
Why did I automatically go to the saxophone?
I don't know. Oh yeah,
That's not
sports,
what I wanted.
hockey,
Let's get back into
skates.
All right, well,
Jets.
If we're hopping right into the Jets played.
The Jerts.
They played 4 games since we last checked in with you, and they're currently playing a 5th game.
That's a lot of hockey.
Well, because they played the night that we did
Yeah.
the podcast, so they lost to they won against the Canucks 5-2.
Yes, and they play the Canucks again tonight.
They
They
do.
beat them. They'll sweep the Canucks. First time in Winnipeg franchise history.
Really?
Any Winnipeg team. Yep. Sweeping the Canucks in a season
What do you
series.
mean, any Winnipeg team?
So that was old Jets or new Jets.
Oh, okay. And then they played the Flames and lost 4-1.
Yeah, that was an uninspired game, for sure.
Johnny Gaudreau was flexing that intermediate.
Oh, I have to talk about Johnny Gaudreau.
Go. What?
No, we're teasing it for the Leafs section of this podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. What he did to Kadri yesterday.
Oh, I missed it. Perfect. So that's great. All right. And then they played the Hawks and Captain Laddie. You're a good lad. He came home and scored.
Yeah.
They, Jets lost 4-0. And Tank Nation was in full force. Like, they did not look good at all. Not at all. Although
And then
that's
they
the
played-
difference between a cup contender team and not a cup contender team.
And then I guess they played against... The next game was Anaheim, right?
And I was there. I got to go.
I heard the atmosphere was meh.
At the Sunday game?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. You know the Marlies Moose game we went to?
Yeah.
That atmosphere. But just more people.
Without the reggae music?
I actually would rank it above because the reggae music, like the Moose game was better than the Jets game based off of the reggae music.
No.
Every little thing is going to be alright. And then that guy with the steel dome, do 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 do. You're like, what? What am I watching here? What's going on over here? So, yeah, the Jets lost 3-2 in overtime. Chase DeLeo, actually, they had like 3 or 4 debuts just this week.
Julian Melchiori?
Chase DeLeo.
Chase DeLeo?
Maybe I lied.
Scott Kosmachuk was a week before that.
Okay.
That
perfect.
probably was.
And then they had a few. They had Patan got called up again.
Patan got recalled. Yeah.
Recalled. And during that game, Matthew Perreault got hit with a Trubus clapper and
to the
struggled. Not necessarily, not to the face, no. But
so what happened with Pro? He lost an edge, went into the boards.
He lost an edge, went into the boards, and turned. And basically, the first point of contact was like the flat part of the back of his head, and his head, his chin connected like with the bottom of his chest, and then he just like curdled over.
That's healthy.
Dead. It's not, and it was confirmed right after the game that he has a concussion. He's out indefinitely. So essentially, and now like once I get to the injury section. I only named like the season-ending ones because now's the time where teams, when they're not in the playoffs, they're just going to shut you down for the rest of the year. I think the Canucks just shut down like 3 guys, like all at once, and like they were key guys, but they just shut them down just because it's like, your season's lost, you're not making the playoffs. Here's the extra month to kind of just recuperate, and hopefully you come back next year 100%. So let's get away from the boring, sad stuff of the Jets, of them losing and whatnot.
Let's listen to their lineup they're putting together tonight. This is the lineup.
Okay.
Patan, Scheifele, Wheeler, first line.
Okay.
Second line, Dano, Burmistrov, Stafford. Thorburn, Lowry, Halischuk. DeLeo, Kopp, Kosmachuk.
Ugh.
The future is alive and well in Winnipeg. Burmistrov, second line center.
They're playing right now, or
they're playing right now.
Oh, it started at 7.
Yes.
Okay.
0-0 through the first period.
Gee. Well, let's continue into the future of being alive and well. Kyle Connor. The Connor train's continuing. Kyle Connor. He won Most Outstanding Player at the Big Ten tournament. And that normally happens when over a span of 2 days you have 5 goals and 3 assists in 2 games.
Yep.
And in the final game, he had a 4-point night as he led Michigan past
Minnesota
goal.
I was going to text you and ask you how that felt.
In a 5-3 win. I only found out after my hockey game. I was pretty upset. Not really. I was just like, that sucks. But yeah, they let him in a 5-3 win for the Big Ten championship. And he finished his regular season on a 25-game point streak in which he had 57 points.
I know.
And so, just to wrap up, we heard a good chunk of his stats. This is his final regular season stats. 35 goals, 34 assists for 69 points in 36 games.
That's not bad.
That ain't bad at all. And just to top it off,
just under 2 points a game.
He did get nominated for the Hobey Baker.
Yeah.
But so did his 2 line mates.
Oh.
First time in history that has ever happened.
So how many people get nominated for the Hobey Baker?
10.
Ooh.
And all 3.
3 of that line.
Now, obviously, we know because, well...
Is he leading NCAA scoring right now?
I think he led all of them. I think, don't hold me to it.
The thing is how do you not, like, it's almost like the Art Ross trophy, right?
What do you mean?
Is that the Art Ross trophy that's most valuable player? Or am I thinking of another one?
I think Art Ross is.
I think it's Art Ross.
Someone's yelling at their...
Yep.
Yelling right now. No, Art Ross is... Okay, Rock Richard goals, Art Ross is points.
Points.
Yeah.
What's
Head
MVP?
Lindsay's voted by players, so that's the one. Hart.
Okay, Hart.
Hell yeah, we did it.
Fuck, we almost fucked
wow,
that up.
that's embarrassing.
It's almost like with the Hart Trophy, it's tough to not go with the guy that's got the most points. Like, I know, like, there's goalies who've won it, but it's almost tough to not go with the guy that scored the most points because he is so... Because Hobey Baker's, like, the best player in college hockey. Is that what it's...
That is correct. That it is the MVP of the league.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do you not give it to a guy that's the best scorer in your league at 18? And I understand they're very hesitant to give that out, but they gave that to Jack Eichel last year.
And now that's the argument. And that's what, I guarantee people in the room last year arguing.
We're pissed. Weren't happy about that because then you have to make that argument every single year.
Yeah, and that's what's happening now. It's like Kyle Connor, freshman, pretty much led the nation in scoring if he was not already. If he isn't 1, he was for sure top 5 points. Which, dang, if he wasn't number 1. But...
Yeah, how do you get any...
How do you make that argument? Now, how can you not make that argument now? It's like, well, you gave it to Eichel. Why?
Yeah.
What? And because
Eichel last season...
Connor was so good that it sounds like, at least on paper, that his teammates got there because of him.
Yeah.
Like, and they're all 3 of the 10 are locked up in one line. So he is... Oh, go ahead.
No, to compare him to last year's Jack Eichel stats that won the Hobey Baker. Have you looked at these?
Not the current ones.
He had 40 games played,
Eichel.
Okay. Because they play those beanpot games.
Oh,
well,
yes,
right?
yeah.
So they get the extra games.
Because Boston has
only
like 4
Boston.
schools in a 2-block radius. Yeah.
Exactly. He had 26 goals, 45 assists for 71 points. 2 extra points in 4 more games than Jack Eichel, or more than Kyle Connor. If Jack Eichel won it.
Well, if I was a betting man, I would say...
He was also plus 51.
I would say... I don't know what Connor's plus minus is. But
yeah.
I know if you're a betting man and you don't want to win a lot, you're going to bet on Kyle Connor. You'll win some money, but not a lot of money. Because it sounds like he's got this thing on lock. Another nominee, actually, I didn't do the research on this. I just pulled it up. Alex Patan, captain of Michigan Tech.
Is that Nick Patan's brother?
Well, he looks exactly like him. He is also short, and he's also born in the same town Nick Patan was born in. So I'm going to say yes. He's also up for the Hobey Baker.
Do you have all the nominees there?
I do. Would you like me to name them?
I would like to hear all the Hobey Baker nominees.
Okay, so I'll name the 3 from Michigan. JT Compher, Kyle Connor, Tyler Mott.
All part of the CCM line.
Yep. And then you got Boston College junior goalie Thatcher Demko. I believe the Canucks drafted him.
Thatcher Demko.
And then you got Zach Lynch of Robert Morris. Yale junior goalie Alex Lyon. Michigan Tech senior forward Alex Patan, which will make him Nick's older brother. Sorry. We're playing footsies under the table. Sophomore forward Andrew Paturalski of New Hampshire. St. Cloud State senior defenseman Ethan Prow, and Harvard senior forward and future Toronto Maple Leaf Jimmy Vesey. Yeah. Although apparently Nashville's pushing real hard to get him to get him to debut and sign that paper now because they know.
Do we know what the Final Four is, or the Frozen Four is looking like for?
Well, right now they're the Big Ten. Now you have I think there's Final 8 in the nation, and they play the 2 finalists go on to go play the Final Four. I don't know NCAA as much as I know WHL and OHL.
Oh, okay.
But they won the Big Ten, which means they're representing Big Ten in the next tournament. And then it's Frozen Four, which is, I believe, in Tampa Bay. Well, I know the Hobey Baker finalists are announced and the presentation's in Tampa Bay, and normally it's hand in hand with wherever it is. So
okay.
Yeah, that's my assumption.
Are we going to start seeing more players go away from major junior and go to college?
To say they got an education, though?
Because here's what I have, the shower thoughts. Both Kyle Connor and Jacob Trouba had this opportunity where after 1 year they can come to the Jets. If they're not ready, they have the option, as long as they don't sign a contract or something like that, they have the option to go back to college. But let's say they do sign a contract and they want to be ready, they can go to the AHL right away. They don't have to commit to going to the dub or to the O or to the Q. Right?
To do the loophole.
Exactly.
Or even just to be...
Because look at how it benefited William Nylander.
True, this is already his second full year of pro hockey.
And versus...
Not even 20 yet.
Versus Ehlers, who didn't have that option. He went back to the Q. And
dominated. Didn't even learn any. It didn't look like he was men among boys.
Exactly. And then this is where come full circle with another argument, is I think he would have benefited more to play with the Moose for a few games, but he didn't have that option.
Yeah.
So now it comes to guys like Mitch Marner. You're going to have Dylan Strome, who I'm assuming Dylan Strome is going to make the Arizona Coyotes next season. But what if he doesn't? He can't. He either goes back to junior or he plays in the AHL.
They're going to keep him, and then this is the predicament that NHL teams are in, which you can argue why not change the draft age to 19 then. But hold on. Wait, we'll continue on the thought on, though. For who are we talking? Strong. You're going to keep him. You're going to put him on your third line. If he's not doing well, you just have to bench him and just ride it out. Why?
Because you don't want to be the Edmonton Oilers.
You can't send him back. It doesn't do him anything. And that's a predicament that they found themselves in with Leon Draisaitl. Yeah. Where once they sent him back after burning World Juniors, thanks Edmonton, come on.
Could have made Germany something.
Yeah. Oh, but then it's because they knew, and then when they finally sent him back, he just tore it up. Tore it up.
And he had good stretches this season, but it's just... William Nylander is officially on his deal now.
Yep.
Like his entry level deal started, which is fine. I'm okay with it, but I'm struggling to find the sense in it that I could see more players not only going to the NCAA just because when you're 18, it's less of a load. You can focus on like your life isn't just hockey in the NCAA, right?
Well, you're
Because
studying.
they focus a lot on the academics.
And you also have literally pretty much only all your games are on the weekend.
Exactly.
Back to backs. And less of like a player, like less of a game schedule, like WHL.
You play 70 games.
I think they've been talking about bringing the games down for quite a while now.
It's a lot.
72 games, or like say if you're in a queue, it's like 68. Like as a 16-year-old kid, like your first year away from home and you're suddenly like playing 3 games a week for 6 months. That's insane.
Here's where my where the argument is or why this I think is an argument is most Canadian kids growing up, they want to when they're 14, they want to get drafted into the WHL. Most kids from Winnipeg, right?
Yeah.
And it's OHL if you're in Ontario, it's QMJHL if you're from Maritimes
And the only way that like other guys like say if you're in Winnipeg but you play for OHL team, that was because in your bantam year you got passed over. That's the only way you get into another league.
So that's the dream. Very few people who get drafted in the WHL think, well, no, I want to do college. Like there's a kid I know right now. He's 16 years old, turning 17, and he's going to try out for the Giants, I believe, the Vancouver Giants.
Okay.
But he doesn't know if he wants to even think about doing school because a lot of these kids they don't have the grades to do school, to do college. But I think if the mindset goes away from let's try to get onto a junior team and it goes to let's go to college because clearly it's working. Because if you look at the program that's happening in the United States right now, they have a better junior program, it seems. The best player in the world right now, or at least points leader right now, is an American.
Kyle Connor.
No, like in the NHL, is Patrick Kane.
Oh, okay, yeah. But hold on.
I understand that.
Patrick
There's
Kane
a lot.
played in the OHL.
That's not the. But how big was the NCAA?
Oh yeah, at the time. And
it's only getting bigger now. That's what I'm saying. And more players are getting drafted from the NCAA year after year, and more players are going there. Like, I think the NCAA might turn into more of a developmental league than the WHL, in a sense.
Well, okay, let's look at a major upside, monster upsides. Education, huge. Because say, you know what? Sometimes after playing 4 years in the WHL, yes, they have educational points, but go ahead.
But I love the upside that you get as well in the NCAA where if you want to push that first year pro, you don't have to, it's not as much of a predicament for teams. And that's maybe the angle that the Jets went with, is they saw, because last year people were harping on, they're like, why are you drafting all these Americans that go to NCAA? Jack Roslovic, Kyle Connor. Both their first round picks, American-born college players, is so they can avoid that potential of, we have to push this guy to the NHL right away.
Oh, that's where you're getting it. Yeah.
That's the only thing this is what my whole argument's based around, is that whole fact that if you're too good, you're not good enough for the NHL, but you're too good for the OHL, why can you not just go to the AHL? And I understand, without having to burn that year of the contract. Because you can't, you can't even play in the AHL, period, which is just stupid.
Yeah, you can't even get a tester game or anything. They gotta shake that up.
I feel like that's the biggest problem right now with the developmental system in the NHL and the AHL is, you know what, guys like Mitch Marner and Dylan Strome, they shouldn't be in the OHL right now. They just shouldn't be. And I understand why they're there is to sell tickets and to put more people in the seats because they're having phenomenal seasons. But is it great watching a guy score 130 points? Really? Is that something to be
when it's come to when
it happens
when a guy
every
like
year.
that loses his you watching it loses its luster for you.
Exactly.
Come on, that's crazy. You should be like, wow, look at this kid, he's amazing.
It's more amazing if he's a 17-year-old doing that, not when he's an 18-year-old, 19-year-old doing that.
Because that's expected of them to do that,
Exactly.
especially with that caliber. Just another point, to add, I guess bonus wise for NCAA. you can go from the NCAA to the
Exactly.
CHL.
Exactly.
You cannot
Nope.
go from this, even if you played an exhibition game.
Because you
Well,
have to sign some sort of
Yep.
contract, right?
You can't go CHL to NCAA, so why wouldn't you at least give it a shot? And get an education in the meantime. You're probably not. You're probably partying. But still, at least you have the opportunity to. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, and actually, you know what? Now that you're talking about that, and we've already mentioned him, Jimmy Vesey wrote I don't know if he wrote it or if there was a ghostwriter.
But it was in Players Tribune, right?
Players Tribune. I'm going to tweet it. Give it a read. Because it's actually from the player's perspective of, it's basically why he chose to go back to Boston College for his senior year. And it's a great read if you get a chance. So I'll definitely tweet that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, just for those who don't end up reading it, what are the highlights of it?
He basically just said when you're going to the NCAA, like you could swap out like NCAA with CHL for most of it. Like you basically learn from you learn how to cope with situations basically by going to school. You're learning how to manage your workload. Like not that you don't in CHL, but like you could play 2 full years in CHL where you don't have school or anything. Like you're literally just playing hockey and working out. As opposed to when you're in NCAA, Monday to Thursday, you essentially are in classes. Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, you have game. Well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you always have games, so you're preparing. But you have to manage your workload of your friends. Some of them have jobs, most likely not if you're a full ride or anything. But you have your school, your friends, your social life, and your hockey. So you have to learn how to do that. And basically it's more of like him saying it was important to him to finish his education because he felt like he's already put in that much time. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think somewhere in the article saying like he was the first guy in his family to go through and like would be the first one to get a degree. And that's very education.
It's a proud moment. And I know that CHL does stuff for players going and wanting their further education.
Yeah,
right?
and they go on the CIS, which is the Canadian intercollegiate sports or something.
Yeah. But the problem is most of the guys that go to that, they don't have pro careers ahead of them.
No, they do not.
A lot of NCAA players have potential pro careers ahead of them. Like let's say hypothetically, you're an 18-year-old kid, you've never played a game of junior in your life, which is probably really rare at this point. But you have the opportunity to go to college. Why do you not take advantage of that? Because yes, you have that sense of pride and accomplishment for going to school and doing that. You learn I think you learn more valuable life skills going to school, learning. You meet people from all walks of life, and I think it takes away a sense of entitlement from you. Because when you're a junior player, let's say you're a kid that goes to Brandon, Manitoba, or you go to
you're in
Saskatoon,
small towns. You
or
run that town.
You run that shit.
Yeah.
But when you're playing at Boston College or Harvard or Wisconsin or any of those places, you're getting overshadowed by the guy playing basketball, guy playing football, the
super geniuses.
Exactly.
Or the pro teams that are in your city because you're in a monster city. Not every team, like we'll use Boston as the example, but not every town. Like some towns you will
like
run
St. Cloud State.
Yeah. You are the attraction, but it's still like you're going to get overshadowed by many things.
Exactly. And you're just, for a lot of people, you're just a face in a crowd.
Yeah. As opposed to WOH or CHL.
Anywhere.
Junior,
Wherever
you are the attraction.
If you're in Cape Breton or if you're in Rimouski, like, that's all they have. That's all they have. And I think it takes a lot of pressure off a player to perform all the time. I think it shapes a better career to go to the NCAA route. Didn't Jonathan Toews do that? Didn't he go to Shattuck St. Mary's and then go...
Yeah, he went to U.S. Prep. Or no, that's here. But he went to Shattuck. No, wait, that is in the States.
Yeah, Shattuck St. Mary's.
Shattuck St. Mary's, and then...
Did a year at UND, right?
He advanced, like in a high school. He graduated a year early, and then he freshmaned at UND Fighting Sioux.
Yeah.
And he went there for 2 years, and...
Okay, well, if you go to UND, you are going to be the king of that school, if you are on that team.
Correct.
But not everywhere you go.
True, but also... did he play 3 years? No, 2. But I remember in his second year, he went to the Hawks training camp, and he was like one of the very last guys. They wanted him on that team because you got to think at the time they weren't the Chicago they were today.
Yeah, exactly.
They needed
butts in the seats.
Butts in the seats. They were losing a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he went back because that was also the year that he kind of cemented his status in Canadian hockey lore history by scoring
Exactly.
a hat trick in a shootout.
Yeah.
On who was it?
Who was
Jeff
it?
Frazee of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I always think it's
They knew
Schneider.
each other very well.
They did. Oh yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no, like for me, a Canadian kid, I want to see more NCAA hockey on TV.
Man, it's so good. It's great. And you know what? You know what? Another thing I like about it, which juniors adopting in Canada, strict no fighting
No
policy.
fighting.
You fight, you're gonna get suspended from the game, and you're probably gonna get a nice earful from your coach. And I think depending on the severity of the fight and the situation, you could also face like educational problems, like
here's
whatever the
thing.
word is.
Disciplinary actions.
There we go.
With the NCAA, you're also not. There's not a bunch of. There's no teenagers out there, but everyone wears cages.
Yep.
Everyone's wearing a cage or a face shield.
But also, by that happening, though, then there's a lot more liberties taken in scrums and stuff because you're not afraid to punch a cage.
Exactly, but I don't
True,
think...
yeah, you're all
I think
adults.
there's also a lot less severe injuries in college sports than there is in the CHL.
Yeah, because there's a lot more respect among your peers and among your opponents. Because you all realize, hey, we have school tomorrow, so let's tone her down.
So, to end this topic... Do you see the NCAA being a more attractive option for juniors of tomorrow? For
Yes.
players of tomorrow, for Canada, USA, even kids overseas?
Yes, 100%.
Although kids overseas can just play a year. And then, because really, Austin Matthews right now
Has started a new trend.
is
it's
in
going to continue.
the best position possible. And I think Nikolai Ehlers would have gone that route this year, as he would have gone to play overseas. And I think a lot of players should go this route.
What is it like? Look at Austin Matthews. Okay, his options were go to NCAA and make that program a boatload of cash, go to junior, make a boatload of cash and play junior, but like you're still probably tearing it up. Or why not that extra year go over and make money, get paid,
And play with men.
yeah, and play with men, play with an NHL coach. I mean, he did get fired, but at the end of the season, so
But also play around guys that know the game.
yeah, and they can teach you the intangibles that you need and the invaluable lessons.
And now, I'll be honest, most likely Austin Matthews isn't going to be sent to the AHL. But there's that option there. Yeah. If he's having a bad couple games, go send him to the AHL. There's no problems with that.
There's no stigma about the AHL being bad nowadays.
No.
It's fully, even the ECHL, we talked about this. It's good. That's
It's a
great. We
developmental
need
league.
that now.
It's a developmental league. Mm-hmm. It is no longer like, oh, these guys are shitty, so they're going to play here. The AHL is more of the half the team's young guys, half the team's just veterans that have been in the league forever. And it's exciting hockey, and it's good hockey. Much more, I would say, a lot more defensive. Not as many goals scored in the AHL compared to the NHL, but still
But
good
you get
hockey.
a good mix of veterans and rookies and...
Still makes it exciting.
Yeah, it's
But
awesome.
I could see the Austin Matthews route being taken more often. But yeah, like let's just dive. Like I didn't want to talk about this, but we might as well talk about this because it's inevitably going to happen. When Edmonton wins next season, or this season, the draft lottery, and get the opportunity to draft Austin Matthews, let's say he goes on a tear at the start of the season, then cools it right off and just gets cold for the Edmonton Oilers, can't score a goal. They have the opportunity to send him down to the AHL to refine his game. Or, let's say he gets injured. You can give him the conditioning stint plus a little bit more.
Yep.
They didn't do that. They didn't do that with Connor McDavid, but I mean, you have that option.
They sent Connor McDavid for a week of practice. He didn't play any games, but he practiced. You have that option.
Exactly.
Not that you can't practice with the NHL team, but they.
You have.
Oh no, wait! It was the All-Star break. That's why.
You have the opportunity for that to happen, and I like that attractiveness. So before we go to the GM meetings, we might as well talk about what's happening in Edmonton because something's got to give. They are, with Toronto winning again last night, Toronto's now 1 point behind Edmonton, but Edmonton's got 2 or 3 games extra played than Toronto. And anybody else.
How do you... Man, Edmonton.
Okay, if they get Austin Matthews this year, which it seems is more than less likely, how do you strip the team? what do you... Because you're obviously going to build around... Because I had this discussion in the hockey locker room on Sunday. I said, you got to keep 5 guys and build around those 5 guys. And I got laughed out of the room for saying, you got to keep Cam Talbot because he's your best goalie right now. And he's their best guy in net right now. He's their best option. Then they refuted and they said, well, you could probably find a better goalie for agency.
And if you're dangling guys, why wouldn't you be able to
get a goalie?
Talbot? You're going to keep Talbot because he's got a year left.
Exactly. You're going to keep Nurse as your defenseman.
Yes.
Then your 3 forwards. Who do you go with? Because
3
Matthews and McDavid are 1-2. Who's your third? Do you keep Draisaitl?
Okay, realistic. First thing that popped in my head was Draisaitl, but then you have 3 centers, which is nothing's wrong with that.
But then you run into the Malkin, Crosby style situation.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking Taylor Hall.
Okay.
And then you got Draisaitl, Nuge, Yak, Eberle,
that you can
Dylan.
trade. Yeah.
And you're gonna need a D, another D.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
What would you do?
See, that was along the same lines as I was gonna say was Taylor Hall, but I'm starting to drift more towards you got to keep a guy like Jordan Eberle on the team. The value for Taylor Hall is higher. And what Eberle brings is he can play the wing for you. I just think he's... Not to say that Taylor Hall isn't a versatile player. I like Jordan Eberle more because his value isn't as high, so he can't bring as much of a return. And he's got a reasonable contract.
But all of them are unreasonable. All their contracts are... all of them. Like Nuge... Sorry, not all of them. I'm saying like...
Nuge and Hopkins is way too much.
Okay,
$6 million?
Nuge, Hall, and Ebbs are all $6 million. All of them. They all get paid $6 million.
I thought Nuge Hall... I thought Eberle was $5.5.
I remember Ebb,
okay.
Ebb, Hall, and Nuge all signed those contracts within like a week of each other. It was really weird. Well, not... I found it weird, but...
I think Hall's a good... It's either Hall or Eberle. But I think Nugent Hopkins is gone. I think Yakupov's gone and Draisaitl's gone.
Remember that fake account that tweeted that Yak got traded to Montreal? I was pretty excited to know what the return was. And first thing that came into my head, Nathan Beaulieu.
Yep.
Why not?
Or Alexei Yemlin. There's a lot of people saying that he's gone. Yeah. There's a lot of options for Ottawa, obviously. Or Edmonton. But we'll discuss it further. But I just kind of wanted the preliminary talks because... It looks like it's going to happen. There's 10 games left in the season, and it looks like that's a legitimate possibility.
When do they announce the draft lottery?
At the end of the season. No, it'll happen before our first game of playoffs, I believe.
Playoffs is April 13th is first game.
So I think it gets announced the 12th.
We're less than a month away from finding out that top 5, the election.
We are. I believe. I could be wrong. It might be Stanley Cup Final, but I'm pretty sure it's in April.
Well, why wouldn't they do it right away?
At the end of the season, so you can strategize.
Maybe they did it. They did it somewhere weird last year. I think like the positioning, but I like it when it's like when playoffs are starting. Why not?
Yeah,
because it gives you some. Oh, you know what it is? I know when they announce it. When in between when the conference finals end and the Stanley Cup Finals starts, because there's a few days in between there.
Okay,
I think that's when they announced it last year.
Okay,
just because it keeps them relevant in the sports scene. Because at that point, NBA is also full steam in playoffs. So.
Last couple things I want to touch on. NHL meetings, of course.
Yeah, GM.
Some teams are clinching playoff spots in the NHL.
Some teams are officially eliminated. Toronto.
Washington Capitals have clinched. The LA Kings have clinched. And with a point tonight, Anaheim can clinch.
Who's it? Okay, so I hope Anaheim wins.
They're playing against Montreal, and they were tied last time I checked. So, but before that, I wanted to mention this in Jets, and I heard this conversation on 1290. Is Wheeler for sure going to be captain? Gary Lawless made the argument to say that why isn't Mark Scheifele the next captain?
Do you need a captain?
Well,
this is the argument. Okay,
this is the argument. Do you I think personally, if you pull that room right now and say who do you want to be the next captain,
it's probably Wheeler.
But I don't see any problem with going into next season with Force as a captains.
Me neither. That's when you said that because. Obviously, anyone you talk to, essentially, like 90% of people are going to say, yes, Blake Wheeler is going to be the captain. But I'm okay with going in with 4 captains, as in, like, you run the assistants you have now and add
Scheifele. Yeah.
Or dark horse, although he didn't have the greatest season, but Dan even mentioned, or was that you? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Adam Lowry. He's really tailed off, though, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you could even
He's a
do
tough
that.
one. He's a tough one.
But yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing of Scheifele. Like, I mean, I just didn't give it thought, but now that you're mentioning it, it does make good sense because he's progressing quite well.
He's progressing, and we've seen it over the last couple, like, definitely over this span of games in the new year in 2016 has been his best stretch since he's come to the NHL. And he has really shown his value and shown what they saw in him when they drafted him. I don't think he's ready to be a captain, but I like the argument that Gary Lawless said. He said, well, how old is Wheeler? 29? Turning 30-ish?
I think he's turning 29.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Okay,
He's
so
for sure 28, I think.
Okay, so 10 years, maybe?
Left? Man, that's if you're. I'm going to say 6.
Okay, 6 years. With the Jets, at least. We'll say 6 years with the Jets. It's only 6 years of captaincy. Then you have to go through this thing again. Do you want to change a captain every 5 years? Or would you rather have, and this was the argument that was made, would you rather have the guy that's 24 be your captain? Also, another funny thing, he's 22, turning 23. You want to be a younger team. Shouldn't the guy that started the trend be the guy that leads everybody behind them?
And this is a new thing in today's NHL. New captain. Think about it. Taves. Like one of the youngest captains ever.
Stamkos, Crosby,
Landeskog. Giroux. There was huge uproar when Giroux got named because he was like right around Scheifele. Maybe
look who's
younger.
the captain of the Sharks now. They went younger than what they had, which was Pavelski.
Yeah.
But they should have gone younger and went Couture. Who's the captain in Florida right now? Is it still Mitchell? Or is it...
if Mitchell's there, it's Mitchell.
Okay, because I thought it'd be like one of their young guys, but...
Once Mitchell leaves, it's probably going to be...
Tavares, another guy.
Yeah. You know what? Now that we're talking about it, let's do it. Let's just do Scheifele.
But here's
I think the 4 A's then Scheifele. See if he's ready for it.
Okay. Here's the other thing. If you think about it, Scheifele is the first draft pick in the new Winnipeg Jets franchise. If you're a guy, and he's going to sign his first contract at the end of the season.
He's panning out.
If you're a guy that was drafted by the Jets, whoever you are, and it's time to sign, would you not go to Scheifele? Or even if you're a young guy, a young free agent even, would you not go to the guy that started it all and say, how have you felt? Would you ever want to leave Winnipeg?
As in your go-to. Yeah.
He's the perfect ambassador for the young players on the team. Perfect ambassador.
And how many times, multiple times in the offseason, you'll hear like, oh yeah, I went to this team, I got a text or a call from Jonathan Taves or blank and blank.
Can he not be that guy?
He would be that. 100% he'd be that guy. And
I'm not arguing that
yeah.
Wheeler couldn't. But it's almost better.
Wheeler could be the room leader. And for the face, it'd be Scheifele.
There you go.
Nothing's wrong with that.
And Wheeler's one of the best guys with the media, one of the best guys in the community.
Scheifele's not the strongest
media
in your interviews, talking to a robot. He
Yeah.
gives you back what you feed him. That's
Exactly.
it.
If your captain's in 2 years' time, or Scheifele is captain, which I wouldn't mind seeing, Wheeler is assistant and Bufflin is your other assistant, it's a good core to start with.
Yeah, of course.
And really, let's have this quick discussion. We just asked with Edmonton, you had to rip the team. You had 5 players to pick. You have 5 players to pick with Winnipeg. Who do you pick?
5 with Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to go Scheifele, Wheeler,
Buff.
Oh,
shit.
Hellebuck.
Damn it.
That's 4.
Scheifele.
Wheeler, Hellebuck.
Currently on the team?
Bufflin. And I would say Ehlers is my last guy I'd protect.
Wow. So you just ousted Mr. Trouba. Let's fall right into it. GM meetings, expansion draft. These are the rules that we know of right now. I read them on NHL.com. They will change, but preliminarily, there's going to be no new clubs sooner than 2017-18. They said you will be told a full year in advance.
Full year in advance, yeah.
Full year.
So expect it next summer is what I'm going to say.
You're only allowed to protect 11 players. So that would be, the breakdown would be, go ahead.
My estimation of when they're going to announce an actual expansion team, next year's draft. They'll announce it at the draft.
Yeah, and then you would have, I think, a few months to be able to name your protected list, essentially.
No. They'll name it at the draft, and then they'll wait the full year, and then you name your protected players at the end of the year. Then the draft will be pushed back. Correct. I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay, so you're allowed to protect 11, which, if just by my estimation, that would be 7 forwards, 3D, 1 goalie. Here's the rules that they have so far. First and second year players,
Exempt.
Yep. Third year players, not exempt.
Free game.
AHL or NHL, if they're not protected. And obviously your drafts are protected. And say if there's one team drafting, you're going to lose one player. If there's 2 teams drafting, you're losing 2 players. You're guaranteed
2 players.
And now here's a predicament that I was told about by our goalie expert, Bryan Sveinson. Who's in his 3rd year pro at the end of 2 years?
Eric Comrie.
Mm-hmm. You protect him?
You can protect 2 goalies, though. You're allowed to.
You could.
But it changes everything, right?
Now, do you protect Comrie, or is that the guy going forward with that team now? Because that is a nice, shiny piece. You take Comrie and then a vet and ride the vet. Oh, another thing
how about this, though?
Go ahead.
I see, okay, they're going to be given a year. That'll be the most hectic year of trading you'll ever see, period. Before expansion draft.
Yeah.
Because if you're Winnipeg, would you not want to give Eric Comrie to, let's say Edmonton has no one still to be a goaltending prospect for them. You give them Eric Comrie for something.
And they leave Eberle unprotected.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The other thing
they're going to have to make some moves because there's going to be some shady crap. You're going to have to.
Well, or some things that could happen would be Winnipeg being like, we'll give you this player or we'll let you have Eric Comrie, but we're going to take him back for a pick or something like that.
I know.
I think shady shit's going to happen like that. It's going to be, as much as I don't want to see expansion, I almost want to see the expansion draft just to see how much shitty shit's going to go down.
I tried to come up right off the hop. Like when I read the rules in my head, I was doing the math. I'm like, hey, well, if this is in 2 years, it's happening in 2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
2 years. I went down my list and I'm like, well, the Flyers are doing okay. But then my buddy, like Mr. Svensson, pointed out, he's like, yeah, but by then you're probably going to have, the Flyers are probably going to have Konechny on the team and Provorov. And I'm like, oh, no.
You have to decide. Do you protect Provorov, Gostisbehere? You have to protect both of them, especially if Gostisbehere is playing as well as he is.
And then that leaves probably Mr. Simmons or Shen, you know what I mean?
But Simmons or Shen looks very attractive to those teams.
No, that's what I'm saying. So they're going to pluck them.
The minimum players you're going to lose is probably 1. Or you're going to lose a maximum of 1?
Yeah, I think you're only a max of 1.
Okay. So realistically, you got to think of who other teams aren't going to protect.
They're drafting a team. Not everyone will lose someone, but you're expected to lose 1, I think.
When you look at a team like, let's say, if I'm Chicago, if I'm Columbus right now, you're praying they take David Clarkson. You're praying they take David Clarkson. They're not going to.
And, they might, because one of the rules is there's going to be a certain amount of money that this team has to hit minimal.
Exactly.
They said they want this team to make the playoffs in year 1. It's not going to be like Minnesota or Atlanta.
Really?
In Columbus, they want this team to be competitive. And so
then there's going to
be guys like Clarkson taken.
When I hear that, this team has to be competitive, Eric Comrie will not be taken. I do not believe that a team will waste an opportunity to get us. It'll give.
Well, they're going to take 3 goalies, right? So are you willing to give up 1 slot for Comrie, where we don't know. You've been in the AHL or you're backing him up. You're backing him up because I can't realistically see him beating out Hellebuck.
If you're an expansion team, let's just date back to last season. If you're an expansion team, who looks better from a goaltender prospect? Cam Talbot, who's played in New York this entire time and is protected by some of the best defensemen. Do you want him being your goalie? Or would you rather have a guy like Martin Jones?
Oh, damn, that's a good point.
Or Anthony Niemi, who's also won a cup.
But Martin Jones was also protected. No.
He wouldn't have been.
LA. No, I meant like by great D, but I'm like, LA doesn't have that great a D. No. They have good D, but not great. They don't have 5 goalies on the ice. 6 goalies, yeah, like the Rangers.
But that's the argument is it's not like Eric Comrie will be the only goaltender prospect out there. You look at last year alone, Anthony Niemi, he's won cups. That looks attractive to a team that's trying to make the playoffs. Cam Talbot helped the Rangers get to the playoffs. Martin Jones, serviceable player, could probably still play. Yeah. And you know what? They might take a guy like Eric Comrie, but they'll probably more lean towards a guy that's an AHL starter for their 3rd goalie. Like a Drew McIntyre right now type goalie. But
And then you got to look for like veteran leader. Like, man, it's
gotta
crazy when you're building a team. Like,
You got to look for
I
that
hope
veteran leadership.
that brass is going to be. I can't wait to see who they hire for coach GM, because they're going to hire him like a year in advance to do scouting on every team, and then they're going to be talking. That's crazy. They got to build a team from nothing. I can't wait for this to happen.
You know who's
going to
be
awesome?
You know who's going to be first line center for the expansion team? Calling it right now.
First line center.
First line center, or I'm going to say most likely first line center, might not necessarily be. It's
So
one
you're
of two
saying
guys.
essentially their first draft pick?
One of their first two guys, I think they're going to go for. Who?
Can I have
Ryan Kessler.
Oh,
He'll for sure be on that team. Anaheim's not protecting him. Anaheim's definitely not going to protect him. They won't have the money. They don't care. They don't care if he's gone. That cap hit's ridiculous.
obviously they do if they just sign him. Like they signed him before the year's like a week. I know we went
But
off on it, but like come on.
I will 100% say he's gone.
Okay. On one guy, I think right off the hop when I heard the expansion draft pop in my head, I love the guy. Great team guy. Great locker guy. Scotty Hartnell.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
And that's the thing you got to think. If you got like Andrew Ladd, probably wouldn't have been protected.
Probably won't be protected.
He's available. There's gonna be guys out there that are just gonna be available, and because of sheer numbers, they're just gonna like. If I'm the Chicago Blackhawks, depending who I have coming through like my prospect system, Andrew Shaw might be available.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Nicholas Jarmelson might be available.
One of them's gonna. Well, you're gonna protect Keith, or maybe even Seabrook. You don't know if Seabrook. Well, Keith is gonna be there, but
Yeah.
how do you know if Seabrook or not is not going to be protected?
Exactly.
So that's gonna be something.
There's a wealth of possibility, and it's interesting to think about. So you said 11 players, right?
11 players. That's my estimation would be 3 forwards, 3D, a goalie, or one.
Okay.
7 forwards, 3D, 1 goalie. But I also have seen people tweet variations like you could have 8 players, 3 goalies.
Yeah.
Like, there's gonna be
you
again
could protect
some
your
shady
players.
shit happening.
Exactly.
Like what? Like say the Flyers. They might be like, "Hey, we'll trade you Shane Gostisbehere for the end of the season. Protect him. When you trade him back, we'll give you a second rounder just for rental."
You're telling me teams will do that? They will.
Of course they will. Of course. Glenn Sather's not going to do that. My ass. He made that rule. He wrote the book on being shady.
Loophole Lou is going to do it.
He's the best.
Lou Lamoriello is
Him
going
and
to do
his
it.
shiny pearly veneers.
Okay, so right now, Jets protected list. We'll go 7 forwards, 3D, 1 goalie.
We're going 2, or just team right now, or 2 years in the future?
So, if let's say the expanded drafts 2017, 2018, all these guys are.
Let's agree to say Kyle Connor is on the team.
But he would not be affected. Guys
You're
who
right,
start
first
next
2 years.
season will not be affected.
Okay. So this year's team 7 forward, 3D, 1 goalie.
Yes.
Goalie Hellebuck.
Okay?
D.
Your D have to be Bufflin, Myers, and either Trouba or Morrissey.
Trouba.
Over Morrissey. Okay.
Wow, I'm just going off Jets brass and how they think, apparently.
Okay.
Then your forwards, Scheifele,
Scheifele.
Wheeler,
Wheeler.
Ehlers.
So there's 4 more forwards. Are you going to put Patan in there? Because he'll be done his contract.
Who are you going to round out that team with? Like, those are the guys that are for sure on the team, and the rest don't really impress me. Oh my God, Brian Little.
Yes, Brian.
Sorry, yeah, Brian Little. It's crazy how...
4.
I had this conversation with someone, or with Buster already. It's crazy how at the moment Little got hurt.
Yeah, everyone forgot about him.
Like, he's
great. He's really good.
Okay, so Brian Little. So we need
3 more. Depending on how he plays, Adam Lowry, I think, should be in there.
He was one of them.
Depending whether or not they re-sign Perreault, I think he's a guy that should be in there.
Okay.
And then you got to go with either Patan or Kozmachuk, Lepon. Depending where these guys are, Brendan Lemieux. I don't know where his deal is.
Hey, you know how we're arguing about this extra one? Maybe fill it with a D. That's your Morrissey.
There you go. But the truth of the matter is, we can only speculate.
Yeah.
We don't know how the team's going to look, but truthfully, what do you think about the guys that are left off that list? You have Comrie. You have, let's just go off right now's team, Stafford, Halishchuk, Kopp,
Thorburn.
Peluso. But every team's going to go through this where there's like a bunch of young guys left off. So this team's going to have the option to pull those young guys.
And that team like Vegas, if they're planning on making the playoffs, they got to beat. They got to beat the Death Valley.
They're not going to go and just pick up Scott Kosmachuk to pick up Scott Kosmachuk. They're not just going to pick up Nick Patan. They want him to be a serviceable 15.
They're not going to take a guy just to be like, oh, we took him so you can't have him back.
Oh no,
no, they're building a winning team.
Him.
Yeah.
But they didn't mention it. But I would not be surprised if the NHL's like, no, salary cap for the protected players.
Oh, like your protected cannot surpass
like 40 million. That's the exact number I was thinking.
Damn it!
So it would prevent teams like Chicago saying, okay, we'll protect Kane, Taves, Keith, Seabrook.
That's 31 million, all right there.
Yeah. So they have 9 million to protect Panarin, Teravainen, Crawford. The list gets short after that, right?
That's where, again,
exactly,
shady shit's gonna happen.
Exactly.
And I
but
can't wait.
So that does hurt. Like, let's say it's $40 million. Can you fit Buff, Wheeler, Little, Scheifele, Trouba, Hellebuck, because he'll be on a big deal, and all those guys? That's why I think the NHL could do that, because if they want this team to win, guys like Little and Wheeler and Buff might be available because of a salary cap.
Well, when you named the $40 million and we agreed on it there, I just thought, man, the Flyers are pooched.
Here's the other thing.
Like
if you're the Jets, let's say, the earliest it'll happen will be 2018, 2019, the first year of the team.
Yeah, no sooner than 17, 18.
Okay. What if Dustin Byfuglien starts deteriorating? Would you not just let him go?
No, but see, that's the thing, too. It's like, there's definitely going to be teams, too, again, with the shady business. Teams are going to put guys out there in hopes that you take them off their hands.
Well, like David Clarkson.
Columbus put David Clarkson?
They're going to.
Wouldn't you do
They're
it?
not going to protect him.
Yeah, you're not going to protect. Like, you have to just leave him dangling.
Now, it will put teams in very interesting situations. Like Edmonton's they wish it was this year. They really probably do.
Yeah, Teddy Purcell. His contract sucks.
Or
$4.5 million or something like that. It's great. They have two guys, and Nikita Nikitin. They would call up Nikitin just to dangle him out there. Be like, please take him. Please. Come here. Be my friend.
Remember when they signed what's his name? That defenseman.
Andrew Sekera.
What has he done there?
Absolutely nothing.
I think I called that on free agency.
I'm sure you did. I believe
terrible.
you. He sucks. Well,
but
he's much better than me, but I'm not an NHL player.
Heard this to the grapevine. Too bad for Edmonton fans, or I guess every other fan in the NHL. You can the NHL might put in a rule that you cannot win once you win the lottery, you cannot win it again in a 5-year period.
Hell yeah! Yes.
However,
yes. Have they been listening to my thoughts?
This is the way it works. If you finish last and you get first overall pick, and you finish last 5 straight years, you can still get the first overall pick all 5 years. But if you finish second last and win, then you're done. Like, if you finish second last for 5 straight years, you win it once, you cannot win it again in that 5-year span.
So Edmonton would still win it then,
so,
they suck every
but
year.
Edmonton has only actually finished last twice. Because 1 year New Jersey
but
did.
They've won in 4 out of 6. I get it.
So
bring that rule in, though. Hell yeah.
Last year, they wouldn't have been able to get McDavid under this rule.
Good. It's not fair.
It would have gone to Buffalo.
Okay.
And Eichel would have gone to Edmonton. I still think that was a conspiracy. 100%. Canadian guy with the Canadian team, the American guy with the American team.
If it was a conspiracy in my mind, I'm with you, Greg. But another conspiracy in my head is if it really was a conspiracy,
Arizona,
because they need to put booties in seats. They need those gosh darn bootios down there.
Dear Buffalo Sabres fans, Toronto is better at rebuilding than you are. Just putting that one out there after they demolished them 4-1.
Oh, you teased Nasty Naz earlier.
Not Nasty Naz, but they played Calgary last night, they being Toronto. They won 4-1, I believe. No, 5-2. 5-2. They won 5-2. William Nylander had a 3-point game. 1 goal, 2 assists. Zach Hyman scored again. Jonathan Bernier looked okay. But the big incident in the game was about a month ago, Calgary and Toronto met, and Giordano wallpapered Kadri. And Kadri was pretty pissed about it.
Oh, yeah, he did a cutthroat gesture and got fined $5,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This time they met, Kadri wallpapered Gaudreau with one of the Calgary Flames taking exception to that. I don't know who it was. I don't know who it is.
Brandon Bollig?
No, not Bollig. Another guy.
I don't know. I didn't see the highlight.
Taking exception, and Kadri turtled. But what actually happened was he was skating. This guy came after him, and then Gaudreau gave him like this. This sound is if you can hear that, that's probably how hard Gaudreau hit Kadri, and Kadri lost his stick and just totally dove. I think that was a complete dive because you can see how hard Gaudreau hits him, and it's literally like tap on the back of the ankle, and he flew. And then Kadri didn't want to get into a fight, so he turtled, and then Gaudreau was chirping him about getting turtled. So Mr. Gaudreau, when I make him embellish to try to... I thought that was hilarious. But don't say a guy was turtling unless you actually fought him. That's my only pipe.
Oh.
But you do have 71 points for a guy that's 157 pounds.
And uses an intermediate flex.
Exactly. I'm not going to chirp you because you are unbelievable.
Nice.
It really has taken away the stigma of too small for the NHL.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And too small for the Western Conference.
It's good.
Finish up.
Yeah, I will finish up. I'll just do quick notes. Kevin Spacey attended the Florida Panthers.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
Hey, Kevin Spacey in space, so I'll tweet that video.
He was jacked about that too. The Kevin Spacey in space. Oh.
So awesome.
Florida fans, and it actually looked packed in Florida.
The first 10,000 fans got Kevin Spacey face mask.
And he was one of them. And got it. And then he faked it, and then he's like...
it's like, Kevin Spacey! I'm the president of the world!
Kevin Spacey in space. That's too funny. Continue.
I'm just going to note the most notable injury that directly affects a certain team's playoff
hopes
ranking.
Oh.
Tyler Seguin out 3 to 4 weeks
with
a cut Achilles tendon.
And then tweeted a picture of it.
Did he?
Yeah.
I will tweet that out.
I don't know if it's still up, but yes, please find it. And he tweeted it.
Okay, yeah, I'll get on it.
It's not an easy thing to look at. Winnipeg is up 1-0 with 3:20 left. Adam Lowry scored the goal from Halschek and Thorburn.
The future is now. All right, closing words, Greg.
No. We're not closing words. You still have a comment to read, and we still have the election to do.
We do! My goodness, look at Keith.
So before we get to the actual comment, let's talk about the election.
Okay.
So, Toronto in 30th. Yeah, we're going to go from the bottom to the top.
Toronto in 30th. Bottom now, we're Drake's friend.
With 63 points. Winnipeg in 29th with 64 points. Both with 72 games played. However, Edmonton with 75 games played. Edmonton has 7 games left of the season with 65 points. So they're a mere point ahead of Winnipeg with 3 games extra played. Vancouver is in 27th with 66 points, but they've only played 71 games. Columbus with 73 games played is in 26th with 68 points. So it means the most points right now that Edmonton can have this season is 79.
Okay.
The most Toronto can have is 83.
So Ed Money's got to win some, and Toronto's got to suck some.
Yes. Toronto should send all the Marlies back and bring up ECHL guys. Because the Marlies are winning them games. Just stop.
I like how they're debuting every player on their team. They're like, Freddie the Goat is here. Freddie the Goat.
I like how that started, too.
I have no idea how it started. How did it start?
I don't know. But it was just, they called him the Goat. And it stuck.
Like greatest of all time?
Yes.
I wish I could have transitioned into this, but I didn't. But Kevin Spacey in space, Florida Panthers. Cod Nation on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Florida Panthers. And he gave us their whole lineup. So, like, top line, Huberto Barkov, Jagerbomber, Hoodler, Trocheck Smith, Purcell, Bukestad, Kyle Rao, because they played...
Teddy Purcell is no longer on the Infantry. He's now on the Florida Panthers.
Is he really?
You just read Purcell.
When did they trade him?
At the deadline.
Oh, my God. I suck at my job, guys. Line 4, Garrett Wilson, Greg McKegg, Logan Shaw.
Oh, Greg McKegg. Regular NHLer Greg McKegg.
Does that ring any bells, Craig?
Well, the Leafs traded.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah. D pairing 1, Dmitry
I'm a little
Kulikov,
shocked
Aaron
that he's there.
Ekblad. D pairing 2, Brian Campbell, Dylan Olsen. D pairing 3, Jakob Kindle, Alex Petrovic. I like the pickup by Kindle at the draft or at the trade.
Yes, me too.
Thanks for reading, guys. It means a lot. So he meant his comment last week. By the way, you guys made me a Jets fan. I've already bought 2 hats. Signed, Robbie, a.k.a. Cod Nation. Robbie, I feel like we've done you wrong, friend.
Yeah.
Why aren't you a Flyers or Leafs fan?
Why are you a Jerts fan?
Why am I wearing a Jerks shirt right now?
Know.
I just realized as I said it. Well, I'm glad we can turn in. I don't think we can. We're not educational. Like
We're
I don't
not.
like at all. Like
I've listened to other podcasts. They talk about like PDO and Corsi, and we're sitting here talking about dogs.
we should have a. Well, first off, I should still get on making that Skype account, which I can't figure it out. But
It's hard.
I'll get you guys to do it then. But get you the Skype account, and we got to do a podcast with like
Our fans.
Our fans.
We should do
friends,
a Google Hangout with our fans.
and just chitty
So
chat.
all 7 of us,
Yeah.
and then I'll record it, and then we can put it up on our YouTube page. We'll take the audio, throw it up as that's what we can do for 100th episode.
Well, Greg, you have now deemed yourself some homework of figuring out Google Hangouts and how they work.
I will try.
Well, no, not
Hey,
there is no try.
I have
There is only do.
I have 14 weeks to figure it out.
Man, we're doing it then. We're doing it.
Well,
Message us if you want in on this. Seriously, our email. We're
Yes,
doing it.
if you're
That's
if
it.
you wanna be
100th
part
episode.
of the 100th episode,
We're
Google
gonna call it
Hangout.
100th episode. Friendship Land. Friendship
Yes.
Land. 100th episode. Don't tell Dan. He's not invited.
No, because he won't be a part of this. He won't hear
He
this.
will not. Friendship Land. He'll never know. We're gonna show up at his house. He's like, "Why do you guys?
Wait.
Why do you need the Wi-Fi? Why do you need the Wi-Fi?"
Can we just start next podcast with Friendship Land and he won't understand? We'll ask him if he's ready for Friendship Land.
Yeah.
Put that on your paper because I'll forget by next week.
Okay,
but-
I'll put it next week. Are you ready for Friendship Land?
Are you ready for Friendship Land, Dan? What? We're doing a Google Hangout. Google?
Okay, wait, no. So what? We just went off topic, off of going off topic. So what I was going to say was, you listen to other podcasts who like talk about PDO and Corsi.
Oh.
One of our podcasts at the end, like when there's maybe not a lot going on, I still don't know what all of that means. We should actually just like read it out and figure out how to explain it. Basically, you're explaining it to me. Because if I get it, everyone gets it.
So PDO
No, we're not getting into it
is
now.
a combination.
We're going to call it
of
Friendship
save
Land
percentage,
Info Land. Friendship Land.
Save percentage and shooting percentage.
Okay.
So the goal is to not have a shitty PDO.
But what does PDO stand for?
I don't know.
I want question. Friendship Land Info Land episode 101. Boom. We just got 2 episodes back to back. That's a lot of homework for both of us to do.
It's a lot of work, Cam.
Well,
Are we going to start like a new format at 101? I think we should just start a new format. A question and answer period at 101.
yeah.
Just
Well, Friendship Land.
Cam
we'll discuss.
asks me, what does PDO stand for?
Yeah.
I'll tell him.
Friendship-
That'll be our podcast.
Well, Friendship Land will aid us in embarking us into the triple digits of the world. You send us a message, everybody. We're doing this is a thing now.
If you want to be a part of it, let us know on YouTube.
And you know what else we're doing?
Or Twitter.
We got to get a picture for our podcast.
that is
and
not
we got,
the Jets.
That's not just podomatic and boring. It's got to be us, and we need to. We're sending out in the summer. We're doing Merry Half Christmas cards.
No.
Yep. We're
To our fans?
We promised 2 years in a row Christmas cards.
we did not do it.
We owe our friends of Friendship Land Christmas cards.
Are you bringing this up because I still haven't paid for the Christmas card?
Oh yeah, no, that's this weekend.
I know it is.
I didn't do that on purpose.
Okay.
I want to take Christmas pictures, and we're taking Friendship Land, Christmas Land pictures. Greg, take us home. Where do they contact us to get in on Friendship Land Info Land 101?
Check us out on YouTube at Last Man in PC. Check us out on Twitter at Last Man in PC. And if you want to email us, lastmaninpc@gmail.com. And that'll also be what we use to do the Google Hangout. So if you're interested in it, we'll keep bringing it up episode by episode. And once you guys are in,
Find the info.
we'll
How many
figure
you're
out-
allowed to?
Oh,
be
you're
on
allowed
it.
like 30.
I've
It's
never done a
ridiculous.
Google Hangout. It's going to be new for everybody.
Yes, it'll be a lot of people talking at once.
We can have some. We got treats and beats. Treats and pizza at Friendship Land.
We can have treats and pizza with
We're
people.
getting too far ahead of our cake. Let's close it out. Closing words.
It just ends up being us.
That's fine by me.
We're waiting for people.
We still got treats and pizza.
Is anyone going to show us? Brett, Nick? Anybody?
Anybody. Mr. Chicago.
Tweet it out. Be like, anybody want to join us for a golden hangout? Please?
Please. Yeah. Friendship Land.
That'll be also weird because we got to like show our faces. Like there's...
Well, I know we're the Canes of the wrestling worlds. Where for like the first half of our kayfabe life,
Can we just
had horrific.
We should just wear ski masks for the podcast.
Yeah, and then that's the one that like the government decides to sit in on, and it's called Friendship Land. Like they're like, oh god, we saw another bronies hang out. Get out now, leave.
Guy Fawkes masks.
Oh yeah. No.
And then take them
I'm
off
showing my face. I don't care.
I know we do.
We know what they look like because we tweet it and retweet it.
Yeah, I looked fat in that picture. I'm not fat. I'm big boned.
We're big skinned.
Big skinned. Very thick skinned.
Well, Greg.
Episode 85 in the books.
That's how we do.
See you next week, guys.
Friendship Land. Think of a song. We're going to sing a song as well.
Friendship Land. Friendship Land. Friendship Land.